Hello everyone, this is your host, Gemma Putty, bringing health and wellness conversations from North Idaho and across this region. I'm so excited to chat with entrepreneurs, creatives, and believers as we journey together to connect more deeply to ourselves, our earth, and our communities. Cheers to shining bright and supporting local. Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today, we're bringing more vibrant conversations from across North Idaho and this region. I'm excited to chat with entrepreneurs, creatives, and believers as we journey together to connect more deeply to ourselves, our earth, and our communities. So for interview number 5 already, I'm talking with Derek Locke. He's the creator of Black Bear Herbary, which is just north of Sandpoint. Instead of writing a little intro today, I kind of stole it straight off his website because I loved what he wrote so much. So here we go. Every day we are learning something new, something that was once hidden, something that was once common knowledge, and we question why we ever stepped away from this model of health. Once upon a time, every household had a distillation setup to make essential oils or prepare proper elixirs, or to make the herbal products they needed from the herbs in their gardens. Sometimes herbs take time to prepare and grow. Sometimes the moon isn't sitting quite right, or the planets aren't in their proper houses or zodiac signs. This is also called herbal astrology, which helps to strengthen and empower our elixirs. Our entire mission is to bring this back, to bring power over your health and the ability to make decisions about your health back to the person it belongs to, you. This is our mission, to bring power to you, to educate you, and to help you along this crazy path called life. I love it. Like the first time I read that, it gave me chills. So how I found Derek was I was in City Beach Organics in Sandpoint visiting my friend last week. And I had this like little bottle of bitters right here. It was the only bottle next to the counter. I'm like, what is this? And of course they told me that Derek lived just north of Sandpoint. So then I get home and I send Derek an email like a crazy person, like, Derek, what do you do? Like, can I interview you? And he responded immediately. So anyway, welcome, Derek. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I mean, you and I have chatted a little bit, but do you want to just give you a little bit of your background and your journey to being where you are right now with having started Black Bear Herbary just earlier this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually really don't have much of a background right now. I just got started in my studies last year, so I'm fairly new to, I guess, everything. But there's definitely a really strong connection between me and the plants. And I mean, my whole entire life, I've been interested in the plants, the idea of healing with plants, and I guess the magic of plants. They've always spoke to me, and I did a bunch of different things. I did graphic design for a little bit, and nothing really sat right until I came back from South Carolina 2 years ago, and I kind of just picked this up, and it really spoke to me, and I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot really quickly. Dove into a rabbit hole per se with
Right.
herbal astrology. I'm studying sound therapy with tuning forks right now, just learning alchemy and learning all the different things for plants, and how everything we do every day affects who we are and who we can be.
Right. No, for sure. What was the piece that made you like even dig in and look up herbal astrology? Because I mean, I had literally never heard of herbal astrology until I looked on your website.
I mean, it goes back to the whole plants and the magic of plants, and so many people are like, yeah, I'm a Virgo or I'm a Leo, or but what does that mean, right? Like how does that actually affect our lives?
Right.
So herbal astrology is taking your entire birth chart and laying your life out pretty much, because you can look at a birth chart and say, okay, this was perfect balance at one point. Where are we now, and how do we get back to that?
Love it. So with the herbal astrology, is it, I mean, we've all got that for ourselves. I just listened to, and I love podcasts, of course, but I just listened to a podcast that was talking about the 12 houses. And even right now, with all of the retrogrades of multiple planets, that just makes so much sense for our world is shedding all of this junk, these things that aren't working for it, which is coming out in COVID, which is coming out in people being like, no more, you will not treat me this way. We're shedding a lot, and the planets have a lot to do with that. So with what you're studying, are you studying then how that incorporates into your own life as well as into the life of plants? Is that kind of, and then when to pick them, and when, I mean, obviously when they are their most powerful, is that kind of what you're studying?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, each sign rules a certain part of the body. So, for example, Aries, they rule like the brain, the blood vessels, the face, just kind of the body in general. So we can look at what plants are under the sign Aries, and then we can wait until like the moon is in the house Aries. And then we can pick that plant during Aries, we can prepare that plant during Aries, and then through alchemy, we can create more of a whole support for the system. And then that will, that creates a extract that's extremely good for the body, for the brain, for the blood. And we can do that with each of the signs, because each sign rules part of the body.
Fascinating. I love it. So how long is this program that you're doing? And it's online, I assume.
Yeah, it's all online. It's through the School of Evolutionary Herbalism. It's self-paced, but I mean, you could probably finish it in 3 months if you were really going at it.
I see.
But I'm just kind of taking my time, going through it, and making sure that I'm getting everything that I need.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you've already translated that into, I mean, on your website, you've got multiple teas, which I do have a lot of here because you so kindly delivered them to my door, even though that City Beach Organics was out. And I've tried, there's one here called Total Balance, everybody, which you'll see is completely empty. Primarily because it says to brew it all at the same time. So I did, and then gave it to all my family. But I mean, you've obviously got all these products already. So you're taking it, implementing it. I mean, what does your space look like? Your parents, you said, have a farm. So are you Pack River Farm, if I'm right? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So do you have your herbs like growing on the side over there? Or what is your system right now set in place to be able to create all these lovely little things?
So right now, I'm trying to grow the majority of my herbs. I lost a lot of stuff because we had one night it was 27 degrees, so a bunch of stuff froze, which sucks.
Okay.
Whatever I can't grow right now, I'm buying organically from Star West Botanicals.
Okay.
So I am missing the harvesting part, which really sucks, but I can still prepare everything, under proper sign in the moon and through alchemy, which is, extremely important in my opinion.
Well, and okay, this is really naive of me, but what do you mean when you say that? What is alchemy?
Alchemy, I mean, like all the stories you hear about alchemy is people transmuting something into gold, or you're taking one thing and you're turning it into another thing.
Okay.
Everything in general is energy. So
Right.
we're harnessing something's energy and processing it a certain way to turn it into another energy.
I love it.
So,
Yes, I have read The Alchemist, so I do know what you're talking about now that I actually think about it.
like specifically, you're looking for the mercury, the sulfur, and the salt of a plant. By tincturing the plant, we're going to get the mercury and the sulfur,
Okay.
and then through fire, we get the salt.
Okay. Now, what do you mean by tincturing? This is all questions I've had. So people are like, "What is a tincture? It sounds super sexy and it smells amazing, but what are you actually, what is the tincture process?"
So, a tincture is usually an herb that's put into alcohol or fermented on its own, which is a whole other process that I haven't gotten into. But basically, we take a specific proof alcohol, we measure out the amount of herbs that we need, then the amount of alcohol that we need. Then you put it into a jar, make sure your herbs are soaked properly, and you stick it in a dark, cool but warm closet or something for 2 to 6 weeks, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Every day you go in and you shake it, and that aggravates the herbs to make sure that you're extracting properly. And then once that's done, what I do is take the solvent or the alcohol. I separate the alcohol and the herb, and then I'll actually burn the herb, which extracts the salt from the herb, and then I'll reintroduce the herb to the alcohol, and I'll let it sit for another week, which gives the salt time to really soak in to the alcohol.
Okay.
And then you have all three pieces that you need for alchemy, which is the mercury, the sulfur, and the salt.
Amazing. I love it. That gives me chills. It's just, it's so beautiful. And that, of course, that then is such a healing for our bodies. So, I mean, is bitters a form of tincture?
Yep. Yeah. It's just taking bitter herbs and tincturing them and then combining them to support the digestive system.
Okay. So you've got, the digestive bitters. Do you take this on the regular?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you notice a difference? I mean, I love it. I don't, my digestive system, I guess, doesn't have major problems, but I think at the same time in the world that we live in, like I'm not eating the cleanest all the time. Like we live in this world, right? Where there's other things impacting our body and how we digest, and even the lotions I put on my body, I try to keep them clean, but there's always something that I'm sure is not the best. So you take this with most meals?
I kind of think it tastes like candy, so I'll just be walking by in the house and I'll just take a few, and I put it into a little, like an atomizer, so that it's a spray instead of a dropper, which makes it a little bit easier.
Nice. No, I love the flavor of it. And I'm not sure if this is appropriate to tell you, but I made it into a cocktail of sorts in that I added it to sweet and spicy, that Good Earth sweet and spicy tea. And then I added a little Pellegrino and your bitters and stirred it all around. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm just going to sip on this like it's a cocktail.
Absolutely. That's actually what a lot of people have been doing with bitters,
Oh,
is making cocktails. So.
right. And I think that's probably where my brain came from. It's like, how do I know bitters? Oh yeah, usually they're in like I don't know, whatever they're called, Manhattan or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have the bitters, you've got the total balance, you have, I feel like with the women that I've been talking to, just a lot of my friends, I mean, female hormonal balance and childbirth and getting pregnant and all of that good stuff is tough and crazy and a roller coaster. So you have this Alethea's water, another lovely tea, ladies. It says, I'm just going to read this to you. She's the Greek goddess of childbirth. This blend of herbs helps support balance and fortify the whole body before, during, and after pregnancy. Helps with nausea, menstrual cramping, and the re-energizing of blood vessels. So amazing. So with this one and the others, you said really you've just been talking to your clients and the people in your life and creating things as you're really seeing a need. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like a lot of my focus right now is more towards the teas. It's a little harder to like explain tinctures to people who don't either understand or want to understand kind of what they are. And a lot of people are skeptical, like, do they actually work? How I'm going to spend money on something that I don't know that works.
Right.
But, I've got a lot of real life people who definitely agree that they work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think part of it, mind, body, soul, spirit connection, right, is like if you're letting your mind question it and not believe it, I hate to say it, but I feel like you've blocked yourself. Like I've been studying Reiki and other things, and it's like people can do these healing modalities on you, give you tinctures, but if you're not open to receiving it, well, then you're not going to receive it. It's as easy as that. Right?
And that's my whole philosophy. Like, I can only give you so much stuff, but if you're not going to support your body in other ways, then my products aren't going to help you.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. What is your kind of daily practice with, I mean, is there a tea that is your go-to that you kind of like to sip on throughout, or is there other things? I mean, do you like a good old cup of coffee every once in a while? What's your
Um, most of the time I drink it's called Market Spice. I get it from Winter Ridge in town, but I do that with a English breakfast tea in the morning, and that's delicious with honey and a little bit of milk.
nice?
Uh, but for the most part throughout the day, I'm drinking the Fire Flower. It's super super light. It helps with inflammation. If you wanted to add like lemon or orange to it, you could easily do that. So it's a really versatile tea that I make.
So what are you, I mean, you're in the beginning stages, you're studying, which I'm jealous. I love that. I mean, I saw on your website, I already am like, tell me when your Herbalism 101 is coming out, Derek. I will be there. What's your vision? I mean, your website's also already gorgeous and on point as far as I'm concerned.
So my overall goal is to have an herbary in town, somewhere where people can come and, just be immersed in the plants and smell and look at and study with plants, but also providing local herbs that people don't have to go and wildcraft all the time. So having a place in town that people can just walk into and say, hey, I need like 3 pounds of yarrow. Okay, I got you. Like, let's get you 3 pounds of yarrow. And having my products and having local products. And I want to bring education to everyone, essentially. That's why I want to start my Herbalism 101 classes, just to start educating.
Yeah, and I think it's not part of most of our vocabularies. And I mean, this is coming from my worldview. It was not part of my vocabulary. And then when I start to talk about herbalism and then I start to talk about astrology, I get super excited, as you've had to deal with over the last couple of weeks. But it's overwhelming. I'm like, there's planets everywhere and there's herbs. And I'm not going to lie to you. My ability to keep plants alive is awful. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Blame it on my house exposure. Like, where's the sun today? But I think this, like, breaking it down, because really just having this alternative where we can go and put our fingers in the dirt and see the plants evolve and what's in season and what do they actually look like beyond just going and buying a tea. Like, this is what it is, and you can mix per what your preferences are and what your needs are, right? It's such a beautiful thing. I love it. Now you have a daughter. Does she love the plants? Does she like get out there and like have her fingers in the dirt with you?
She's kind of weird about dirt, actually.
Oh no.
She loves being outside though, and that's what matters. So
Yeah, exactly. And she's young. She's got time to think, like, all right, Dad, I'm not touching the dirt, but I'll help you cut them and make them
exactly.
pretty and make them into these beautiful teas. So what else am I forgetting to ask you? Is there anything you want to share about kind of your process and what you're learning?
I think the most important thing, like for me, is making sure that people just get proper education. So many people are rushing into like herbalism and the different fields within that, and they're not looking at the impact that they might have on the environment around them. So they'll just go out and cut down as much as they want, take as many herbs as you want. That's not okay. Like, we have to be sustainable, otherwise plants aren't going to come back. Their whole purpose is to help us, but we have to make sure that we're protecting them.
Yes, for sure. The balance of it all, right? And understanding that ecology and the dance of what it needs. And I'm not going to pretend that I understand it, but I'm also looking to people like you to to teach me and give me awesome teas. I love that, because I think it's fun to watch this interest in alternative ways of living, alternatives to just like the commonplace going into the store and buying some pills, but then the education and asking the right questions and understanding the big picture. Yeah, we don't want to just make it trendy. I was reading something yesterday that was just like respecting the history of it. I mean, herbs have been used forever. Like, astrology has been studied and has guided ways of life forever. And to me, that is so grounding to be able to look to ancient ways and go back to these things that have healed people for so many years. And like, there is another way. This has been working for people forever.
The body is the greatest healer. We're built to heal ourselves, and it's hard to see people rush into certain medical procedures because they're not willing to take the time and put the effort into actually teaching your body how to help itself.
Right. Do you have any good stories with that so far? I know you will in a couple of years when you're like, someone did this with this tea and this tincture. And
Actually, the best one is probably my mom. I started her on the total balance, the anti-inflammatory, and the adrenal. She's got a history of thyroid issues and high cholesterol, all that fun stuff. Just being on the total balance alone dropped her cholesterol points by 30 in 4 months.
wow.
So,
And she wasn't changing like diet or anything?
no, I mean, we eat really clean in general because we
Okay.
live on a farm, but it's still like she spent 4 years on standard process and saw a fluctuation of maybe 10 points, give or take, and never like a significant drop. So this
I'm
was a
sorry,
big,
is standard process, is it a pill?
yeah,
Okay.
sorry about
Okay.
that.
No, you're good.
It's actually a company that makes, I guess, herbal and animal derived products.
Okay.
So it's more of like food-based products and less of the chemicals and that kind of stuff. A lot of naturopaths will prescribe standard process.
I see. Okay. And your
Yeah,
tea was the transition, huh? I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. And she's got more energy now because of the adrenal. It's really helped. Can't think of the word I want to use. Basically, the adrenal glands. That's what the whole point of the adrenal protection is. She used to take naps every evening or every afternoon, and now she can go through the whole day without taking a nap because
Wow.
she's got the energy back.
I love that. Really just like focusing on how we're energizing our bodies because it's like that those slumps and those sleeping all the time. And I mean there's room for a 20-minute power nap every once in a while just because, but no, this is all just exciting stuff. So when are you're also studying sound therapy, you said, right?
Yes. Yep.
And are you
That's
doing that online or is that locally?
it's online. It's through Eileen McCusick. She founded Biofield Tuning, and she's teaching a whole course on how we use our voice and how we can tune basically the cavities in our body to produce better resonance, but also heal ourselves through just our voice without using tuning forks. But a lot of work she does is releasing tension through the biofield.
Okay.
So the biofield spans 6 feet around you. It can actually contract or expand depending on if you're stressed, if you have a lot of trauma in your life, or it'll expand if you're a very positive, energetic person.
Mm,
Uh, but you can actually go through the biofield with a tuning fork and say, okay, there's tension in this part of the body. If you connect well enough, you can actually tell the person what the trauma is without them telling you beforehand.
I see.
So you kind of just help them work out tension in their biofield, and that brings the body into better balance.
I love that because I mean it's interesting after I've been studying Reiki just a little bit. I'm just Reiki one, but
Yeah.
I've really been fascinated with energy work for a long time. I've gotten it done, and it was suddenly like, wait, I want to understand this more and understanding, yeah, the different ors outside of ourselves, biofields. I think is probably similar, and that it's energy is vibrating. So whether it's you can feel it or it's resonating, so you can feel it with a sound fork or I mean, and I've been also studying the chakras, which that's the different energy fields, right? Resonating at different levels and being able to feel whether they're open or closed or it's fascinating. I feel like you and I are going to do another like episode in even next year and be like, dude, we've learned all this other stuff. Like this is just it's an exciting journey once you get on and you just realize there's so many ways to heal yourself, yes, but to then connect with your purpose to like elevate yourself to be able to be just aligned with different energy levels, nature, your purpose, your divinity, however you resonate. But I mean, I just think that's the beauty of life, is that elevating and learning and becoming more aligned. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of the birth chart that we look at is, just where when you were born, you were in perfect balance.
right.
So how do we get back there? Everything is going to show up within the body. If you have dry skin, there's going to be some organ that's affected. That's why you have dry skin. It's not just surface symptoms that we have to look at. It's the whole body that people have to take in consideration.
Oh man, that's amazing. So ultimately, I mean, you're saying herbal astrology, but will you, I mean, you're learning how to look at birth charts, and will you be able to do astrology and give readings to like myself, for example?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious if that was, I don't, is that something you even are wanting to do, or you're kind of sticking to your herbs right now?
I'm definitely sticking to the herbs right now, but that's definitely something I want to entertain later on.
Mhm.
I'm working on this whole idea of having a spot where people can come and relax and get tuning fork treatment and get a massage and drink something that's really calming and just step away from the stress and the whole doing and just be in the moment and relax.
I love that. Yeah. Step away from the doing. You have a good quote on your website about that. Like, we're going, we're striving, we're Winnie the Pooh is also really good about that. He's got that little quote about the art of doing nothing is something, basically. I'm like, oh, Winnie the Pooh, I love you. Oh, it's so great. So who, Derek, inspires you? You've been in this area now for a couple of years, right?
Running
Yeah.
up on 5 years in Sandpoint. Honestly, I don't know many of the local people. A
Yet.
lot of naturopaths and herbalists have come and introduced themselves while I'm at the farmers market.
Oh,
But
fun.
I mean, I'm typically at home working on projects and getting stuff ready. And my parents actually really inspire me because they have such a passion for good, clean food. And I think in anything you try from them, you're going to taste the passion and the love and the commitment behind
I love
that
that.
food. So
What's your favorite dish that they make? I love food. I could cook all day long.
they make these cilantro lime kebabs that get marinated overnight, and they are amazing. They're so good. It's called a Walla Walla onion. It's a
Oh,
sweet onion,
mm-hmm.
and take that with some peppers and kebab them and just grill them up, make some cilantro lime rice and some beans, and it's a good meal.
I love that. Yes. And those combinations, cilantro lime, like on point. Nice. So you said, I mean, I found you at City Beach Organics, but you said you've been going to farmers markets as well. Is that right?
Yep, I'm at the Sandpoint Farmers Market. My products are there every Wednesday, but I'm there every Saturday.
Okay.
I usually do like iced tea, but I'm doing hot tea this weekend, which will be fun. And then I'm also at Murphy's, which is right across the street from Evans Brothers in Sandpoint.
Okay. What is
It,
Murphy's? I haven't heard of that place.
it's like a little bike shop. They've
Oh,
got
okay.
donuts and ice cream and coffee, but they have all my teas as well.
Okay. Nice. And then, of course, online, you've got all your products online. And I noticed you're having a sale right now, too.
Yeah, yeah. The equinox is actually today for us. So I was doing a little equinox sale.
I love that. Awesome. What does the equinox mean for your plants? Am I just taking us down?
Um, Kind of just I mean, it's the equal day and equal night.
Right.
Um, that can hold a lot of energy. Anytime we shift seasons, or we have the full moon, and you can have a full moon on an equinox, which has a little bit more energy than just a regular full moon. So it's really just like harnessing the energy around us to put into products.
I love it. I love it all. It's just fascinating. And yeah, just to realize that, I mean, we're just this tiny little planet with us little beings on here being these huge energetic forces across the universe.
Yeah.
Of course, they've got an impact on us, and for good and for bad, right? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's certain times when you're going to be more prone to anger just because the planets are a certain way that they are.
Right.
We just have to make sure that we're working with good intentions and putting support and healing into our products.
Yeah.
And into our lives.
Yes, I love it. I feel like you've lived like multiple lives already and you're so young. I am excited to watch your journey and see your herbary and come visit you, and it's exciting times ahead, I feel like. Well, I think that's all I have. Thank you so much again for joining me today, Derek, and thank you for your beautiful product. I need to get up to the Sandpoint Farmers Market and come see you up there too. When is the last one, on a final note?
October 10th, I believe.
So then after that, we'll just find you online for the winter. Perfect.
Yep, online at Murphy's. I'll be back at City Beach soon.
Nice. Awesome. And I will post Derek's website in the show notes too, so that you will have that. Black Bear Herbary. Again, Derek, thank you so much and take care.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining Derek and I today. As you could tell, Derek is passionate and connected to his mission to bring holistic health to the masses. For a short time, he's even offering listeners 20% off all his products on his website, www.blackbearherbary.com. Use the code VIBE, V-I-B-E, to get this discount. Thank you so much, Derek. As I continue on this journey of discovery and holistic living, I hope you join me as I get to know more awesome, inspiring people in this Inland West region. Feel free to share, like, and let me know who you'd like to hear in the future. Sending all the love, light, and vibrancy. Until next time.